What's up, peeps? Thanks for joining me. My name is Damon Warren, and this is Day One Tech. Today I'm going to be going over my experience using a Mac. I just switched over to a Mac about a year ago. I got a MacBook Air, and I traded that in, and I picked up a MacBook Pro, the 14. With a couple of differences why I got the MacBook 14 as opposed to the MacBook Air with the M2. So I'll go over that first. The first reason I wanted to use multiple screens. Now, the Air with the M2 does not support multiple screens, and the MacBook Pro does. Also, the MacBook Pro came with more memory and more storage, so I needed both of those things to increase the value of the videos and make it easier. In a lot of the videos that I saw with the specs, the speeds were so close that it really didn't make too much of a difference. But the MacBook Pro has more connectors. That was definitely a given. Makes it a lot easier. My desk is a lot cleaner now. That's what was the difference and why I moved to this one. A couple of the first things that I do are I like to install Chrome. Now, Chrome's not in the App Store, so you have to actually go to the website on Safari, and you just type in Chrome, and it'll come up, and then you just download it. It's real easy. Now, the reason why I went with Chrome and I like using Chrome is because Chrome has more extensions. It operates better for certain things. It's not my go-to, but when I'm using extensions for YouTube and different things, Chrome has a better experience, but it does eat up a little bit more memory and it's slower than Safari. That's the reason why I'm using Chrome. The next thing that I get is a password manager. It's not sponsored, but I use RoboForm as a password manager. Been using it for about a year. The thing about a password manager, it allows you to change the passwords across different platforms. It's very secure. Even if you have the password to get into it, you have to do a second authentication, which I suggest for all websites that offer it. Get a second authentication. Get a second authentication enabled so that you can access it. But this is one, you can have all your information in here. You can pull up the passwords, the logins, erase them, change them, have different profiles. It syncs across all devices, so as you see, you can have it hooked to your phone, tablet, Android, iOS. Even gives you security checkups, let you know when you should change it. It generates the random passwords and keeps those secure. So it's a really great tool. Now, another app that I use is called Grammarly. What Grammarly is, it makes writing a lot easier for me. The next one that I use is called Magnet. Here's Magnet right here. Now, when you first start using a Mac, Windows has where you can just drag to the side and it snaps. Macs do not have that ability. You can hover over the green and you get the different selections. But what Magnet allows you to do is not only drag to different sections, but you can set up different hotkeys. So once you set up your hotkeys, instead of dragging or whatever, I have a hotkey so I can hit that and it automatically will maximize and not go full screen. That makes it a lot easier. And the next app I have is Dropover. And I found these over a year. Here's Dropover, and what Dropover does is that it allows you when you're moving files around. So if I'm in this file, I'm gonna go to folder, right? And I want to move a couple files, rather than try to drag them and then move them like that. What this allows me to do, I can grab a file and I shake it, and then this folder opens up. And I just drag the files into the folder and I go to where I want to leave them, and then I can just move them there. And if I decide not to, I just hit the X and they stay right where they were. That's a great convenience. It's really helpful for moving files around and making it easy. Now there's a couple of settings that I do. to make it easier. These are settings that I go through. The first thing I do is I go and I like to clean up and delete and remove different apps. How you do that? You go into Finder, Application, and let's say there's something in here you don't like, if it allows you. This doesn't allow you to get rid of everything, but if you click on it, you'll see the option to move the trash. There you go. So I can move that to trash. A lot of the ones, I get rid of a lot of the ones that I can move the trash. Anything that's left on here, typically you cannot move the trash. But that's just another way of cleaning up the clutter to me. So that's what I like doing. The next thing I like to do is increase the view, the way the folders look. So by default, they're a little smaller, a little harder to read, and it's easy to increase the size and make it more visible. You go into the folder, you're going to click, go down to View Options, and then when you're in there, you can customize the size of the folder. You can increase them, you can increase the font size, you can increase the spacing between the folders. And then at the bottom, if you hit Use as Default, that will default it for all your folders in Finder, which makes it a lot easier to move files around and actually see what they look like when you're moving around files. I found this very helpful. The next setting that I do is so I can, inside Finder, I can see how much space I have available on the different drives, folders. And what you want to do is you go into Finder, go up to the top where it says View, and then Show Status Bar. And that puts the status bar down here at the bottom. Tells you how many items are in that particular folder that you're looking at and how much space is available. So if I go to this T7 drive, I see I have 33 left. My 2 terabyte, I have 126 left. And then on my main drive, I have 415. So that allows me to look at what's in the folder, how much space I have left if I'm managing space and moving files around. Because sometimes I move files and I don't have enough room. So hopefully this helps you out. If it did, let me know. Leave me a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Hit me up on social media. And I really want to thank everybody for watching the video, leaving comments, liking, subscribing, and until next video, remember, take care of each other, peace out, and I'll see you all soon.